Shalom everyone. We have been through 4 weeks of preparation. Egypt removed, the wilderness endured, the manna gathered, the 10 words received, and now God does something that should stop us in our tracks. He does not hand Israel a rule book and a walk away. He invites them into a relationship. In Exodus chapter 24, after the 10 words are spoken, Moses takes the blood of the covenant and sprinkles it on the people and says, "This is the blood of the covenant that God has made with you." And then remarkably, Moses and Aaron and 70 elders of Israel go up to the mountain and they see God and they eat and drink in his presence. The covenant is not a contract. It is a meal. It is intimacy. It is God saying, "I do not just want your obedience. I want you." This is what week 5 is about. Moving from the law on stone to the law on the heart. From performing for God to being with God. From the religion that says, if I do enough, God will be pleased. To the covenant that says, He already loves me. And that love is the only foundation from which anything real can grow. This week is about covenant relationship, not religion. The Hebrew word for covenant is brit. And in the ancient world, a brit was the most binding, most serious, most intimate agreement two parties could ever enter into. It was sealed not with a signature, but with blood, because it was saying, "I am giving you my life, not my compliance, my life." And what God offers in covenant is not primarily a set of rules to follow, but God was offering Himself to know. The covenant is held together by a Hebrew word that has no single English equivalent, and that Hebrew word is known as chesed. It is translated variously as loving kindness, steadfast love, mercy, faithfulness. But the rabbis say, chesed is what you do for someone beyond what you are obligated to do. Love that exceeds the requirement. God's covenant with His people is not maintained by their performance. It is maintained by His chesed. He keeps covenant not because they deserve it, but because He is a kind of God who keeps His word regardless. And that chesed is what He is inviting His people to extend to one another. Jeremiah 31 prophesied a day when God would make a new covenant. The new covenant would not be written on a stone, but on the hearts. The brit, the covenant sealed in His blood, is the foundation of everything week 5 is about. Today is day 29 of the Omer. This week we move from the law on stone to the law on the heart. The covenant promise. From stone to heart. What actually changes when the law moves from a tablet outside you to a heart inside you? This week we move from performing for God to being with God. Because what He has always wanted from you is not your compliance. It is you, your company. About 700 years after Sinai, a prophet named Jeremiah stood in the ruins of everything Israel had built. The kingdom was collapsing, and the temple was about to fall. The people were being carried into exile, and God gave him a promise that had never been spoken before. He said, "I am going to make a new covenant, not like the one I made at Sinai, the one they broke. This new covenant will not be written on a stone. I will put my law within them. I will write it on their hearts, and instead of them trying to keep the law from outside, the law will live on the inside, not a rule to follow, but a nature to become." Jeremiah chapter 31 verse 33-34. "I will put my law within them, and I will write it on their hearts, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. And no longer shall each one teach his neighbor and each his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for they shall all know me. Luke chapter 22 verse 20. This cup is the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you. Yeshua said these words at the last Passover Seder. He was placing himself directly inside Jeremiah's 700-year prophecy, and he was saying, I am the moment this promise becomes real. Not the law on stone replaced, but the law fulfilled, internalized, now written on a heart that has been transformed by His Spirit. The new covenant is not a different standard. It is the same standard, moved from outside to inside, from obligation to love, from having to wanting to. Let's hold up the mirror. Here is the most important question of week 5. Are you living the covenant from the outside in or from the inside out? From the outside in looks like this. I read my Bible because I should. I pray because I'm supposed to. I give because the church expects it. I serve because it is required. I come to God because I am afraid of what happens if I do not. That is law on stone, external, driven by obligation and fear. From the inside out looks like this. I read because I am hungry. I pray because I miss Him when I do not. I give because generosity has become who I am. I serve because love does not know how to stay still. That is the law on the heart, internal, driven by love and desire. Which one is actually describing your life right now? Write in your journal 2 lists side by side. On the left, the spiritual practices in your life that you do primarily out of obligation, because you should, because you're supposed to, because you would feel guilty if you did not. On the right side, the ones you do because you genuinely want to, because they connect you to God in a way that feels real. Look at both lists honestly. The left list is not shame, it is your starting point. And the right list is evidence of the covenant doing its work. Choose one thing from your left list today and ask God to move it to the right. Not by trying harder, but by asking Him to give you a genuine desire for it. Pray these words. God, I do this out of obligation, but I want to do it out of love. Write this on my heart, not just my schedule. Write this and say it aloud. I am in covenant with God, not because of what I do for Him, but because of what He has done for me. His law is being written on my heart. I am becoming, not just behaving. This is the week 5 foundation, and you return to it every day this week. He does not want your compliance. He wants you. He wants your heart. And He has been writing on it longer than you know. We are 21 days to Pentecost. See you tomorrow.